So I finished the drawing stage, and the next step we're going to apply the colors. But before we apply the colors, I like to introduce the color palette first. All right. So you hear this is the color palette, and I have very slow. I just read the name. Is ivory black, ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, sap green, cadmium red, quinacridone magenta, yellow ochre, neighbor yellows, and titanium white. And this one is the medium I've been using. Let me, if you forget, I would say it's liquid original. Okay, that's the liquid here. I just put in here. So when I mix the color, I add a little bit of this on it. So let's start. First, I just use a little bit of a sap green here. Very thin layers of the sap green. You can see I'm missing the color right now. Very thin layers of sap green. Then I'm adding a little bit of sap green in the color, in the area, in the shadow areas. In the corners of her eye, a little bit of the sap green. Right here in the eye socket here. A very, very thin layer. You don't have to be heavy. And sap green is transparent, so it doesn't cover the drawing we have before. So a little bit up like this. Okay. Along the nose, it's beautiful here. Even a little bit this side darker than this side, so I can add a little bit of sap green in it. You would ask why green, right? This is just the way I paint for indirect methods. If I do is I'm sorry, this is when I do direct method, I use very thin layers of sap green. But if I do indirect method, I'm gonna spend a lot of time just working on the green foundation, Italian Corvidaccio. This is kind of similar kind of technique, but you can see that because it's a direct method, so I cannot wait. You have to work on wet. So I add very thin layers on the shadow areas. People would ask why green. I have seen artists using blue. Any colors if is it cool, because we want to play the shadow areas is kind of cooler than the midtone and the highlights, and it's played together. It makes the skin glow. So that's what it is. Just take my time. I know this is we don't have we don't have a lot of time like a whole day to paint on this. Try to finish in 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. So, but I still want to be very careful working on the shape and form. The drawing still needs to be correct. There are here and there I want to fix it. But at this point, let's work on the shadow area first. And you can think how beautiful even just a symbol, the green on top, already make it look beautiful. And she also have a green beautiful top here, but we will take care of it later on today. Put a little bit up. Transition here. And I use a number 4 brow brush. So you can use flat, you can brown, it doesn't matter to me. I use this one because it's not too soft, not too hard, so it's kind of easy for me to blend, right? So you can see I have this is another state. Add the cooler color in the shadow area. Uh, Next time when you try to paint a painting, you can apply a little bit of blues, it work too, but I prefer green because I think green look beautiful with skin tone, right? So time for me to mix a very simple. I'm not gonna focus on detail, the eyes and nose. I want to put everything in her skin first, and I want to looking for the color here. I know that the nose is warmer, cheekbones is warmer, lip warmer, chin warmer, a shadow a little bit warmer along this transition from shadow to mid-tone. Uh, the head is a little bit more yellower. So let's mix some color here, okay? Um, I like to use burnt sienna here. This is a burnt sienna. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow ochre here. Okay, and I also add another layers of never yellows. So it's very yellowish right now. Okay. Then from the system here, I'm gonna add white. Okay, I add a little bit of white in here, and I also from this side I add a little bit of red, and I also add some white in here, so it kind of pinkish here. Continue to use more of the white as in this side. So I have got a range of yellow, warm tone. I add a bunch of it so I don't have to mix them later on. So let's test this, okay? First, I want to push the highlight first, where it's a little bit stronger here. The nose, you know that's the nose should be right here. That's the color. Some in the forehead here, right? And along the nose here. Looking for shape and form, okay? Because again, I'm not hurried to build detail. Think of shape and form first. Here, I have a beautiful color here on the cheekbone. It should be warmer here. In the forehead, it's a little bit more yellow. So this part is more yellows here. I'm gonna add this side, a little bit more yellow colors here. Having fun with this, you know, looking for shape and form. Having fun, you know, the changing a little bit warmer. This is a bit more yellow here, a little bit pinkish here. I'm looking for the chin. The chin is also a little bit, it's in between. Not as warm, but I can add something right here. Right, and this part is more darker, and I also looking for that little highlight here. This part is warmer, so adds a little bit of just beautiful here. Okay, you can see my little dot having fun with this. Okay, this side. Another side, this side is a little bit darker in values. So I use this part of the burnt sienna. I add a little bit of sap green on this side. Mixing up. You see, I'm working on side by side, right? So that part I can test to see how it's work here. It's a little bit dark. It's a shadow area here. It's a little bit more in the shadow. The symbol is just burnt sienna and sap green. You see that? Burnt sienna and sap green, okay? Add a little bit of shadow area with it. Slightly darker. Here, it's a little bit darker here. This will be a little bit darker in here. along the side. And work slowly building the value for her, okay? So now I'm working on this, the forehead again. It's a little bit darker here. Come back in here. Warmer this side. You can see the green is effect is keeps the painting a little bit more interesting, right? See that? And now click better transition because we call work on wet, okay? So I think right here I can add a little bit. Often I have this skin tone, I kind of like it. I add a little bit stronger highlight here. Think about shape and form, okay? Try not to make this form disappear, because if you don't pay attention, you might make the painting it become flat. So what does you don't want it? You make the painting have form and shape, and the value changing, but very subtle. Okay. So I'm now go along the eyes. I like the shadow here. Want them a little bit darker. As this is a burnt sienna, a little bit of the sap green, and that part a little bit yellow ochre here. So we make them all together. I think it's just good to have a system, you know, so you do not get lost. You can also control the consistency. Okay, so I really like the way the direction is going right now. It's quite nice. You can see that it come out so far so good. We just spend not a lot of time, you know, we're just working on it. Okay, so I will continue to work on that side, but before I want to see how the value is going to add a little bit darker colors in here. For that color, I'm going to use just simple a little bit of bone umber, a little bit of brown umber, a little bit ultramarine to make it dark. I'm trying not to use black. I know we eventually I have to use black at some point, but at this point, just ultramarine and brown umber is good enough. And just add a little bit of dark value to see how it's work with the face. So if you help me continue to work more, okay? I will continue as a little bit of burnt sienna because she have kind of red hair. This is a good color for it. Just a little bit of red, warm red sienna, burnt siennas on it. Okay, just be careful. Oh, edges is hard to work with sometimes. Need to clean your hand all the time. Okay. I am not a very clean painter. When I paint, I always make a mess everywhere. So it's just me. soft the edges. Soft the edges so it look natural, okay? Soft edges here. Okay. Okay, so that's helped me a little bit of confidence to continue to go for the next step. Let's work on the way. So I like this here. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna working for the skin tone right here. It's just simple, a little bit of burnt sienna. I have a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit soft green. Soft green is a secret. It makes everything more realistic. Okay, so make a little bit of a little bit dark, and add a little bit of heavy yellows in it. So make them just simple. Make the shape. Looking for values. So add a little bit of warmer colors in it. Slightly a touch of white. Loved it. Good. Here you see, warmer. Leave it on top of her upper lid and her cheekbone here. I'm gonna make them a little bit lighter in values and warmer in color. For this, I think for when I paint direct method, I don't use a lot of color. I try not to use a lot of color. Just try to use enough colors. That's what I say. Looking for the lip, it's a little bit warmer, so I can have a little bit more sienna here. The mixture right here, so add a little bit from this. And but this time, I'm not paying attention to detail. I'm still working for shape and form. But later on, I'm going to go back to the detail, okay? But now working for shape and form. Transition and make them a little bit warmer here. There you go. Make a little bit warmer. to make the color around the eyes a little bit warmer as well. If you have a workshop with me in my pastel workshop, I always add warmer color around the eyes, on top of the nose, top of the nose, and then the lips, you know. A little bit warmer along the nose. It just makes like that for now. Here is darker in values and warmer in color. You can see it right here. Only thing about this, right? We're working on both color and values at the same time. So that's why it's painting color is not that easy, because it's requires lots of controlling. So some of our when I were in school, then we have to learn painting in black and white first, so you can control the value first, and later on you can paint in color, you know. But sometimes here, because of people take a workshop, and I can't, we don't have time to do that. So we just go direct right away with the color, but sometimes it's a little bit of knowledge about values. It help out a lot. So now you see that connected here. You see the skin tone that's connected, right? Yeah, love it, love it. Carmen is a beautiful girl. Beautiful. So that part is warmer. So I want that side a little bit warmer too. Just a little touch. I'm painting. I do a little makeup for the artist, the model too. That's what I like to sometimes. Just a little bit to light. And now I'm adding a little bit of the quinacridone magenta with burnt sienna to make a warmer and darker, warmer color and darker in values. Okay, only think about it, warmer, you see it's warmer here, and it's darker in values. Now burnt sienna, sap green, and a little bit of yellow ochre, maybe a little more sap green. Then I will add you back to the shadow. Oops, that's too much. But thank God, oil is very easy. It's very not easy. I mean, it's forgiving. So in this case, sometimes you make it dark. You just simple blend it, or use a brush, clean your brush, and take that out. Okay, not that bad. So over here. clean up the lines a little bit, make it softer. We don't want them too sharp. Let me make sure that you have to correct the drawing all the time. Because when we paint like this, we lost the original drawing. So it's good to come back and control it all the time, okay? Control it. That's what I learned from my teacher, Mr. Daniel Green. Every stage you have to go back and step back and take a look at your drawing, because you paint, you lose your drawing. So it's important to control it. That's what he only mentioned with his student. I was very lucky to study with him, not for a very long time. I took a few workshops with him, and I learned so many things, especially in values. I learned so much from him. So this is pinkish. This is a light bit more yellowish compared to this here. So I'm come back here. I have that part I mixed, got a yellow here. So I'm happy with it. Let's come back here, and that's perfect here. So when I paint it, I'm thinking about the muscle too, right? There's fatness in here. There's a little fat in here. It's a bone structure. So it's good to understand anatomy. Okay, so I like you to, if you can, I mentioned many times, if you can, spend some time to learn anatomy, it's good for you. It's always good to learn anatomy. Soft transition here. Now I can get a little bit of lighter color here. I think that part light. The light is beautiful in here. Then I come back in here. Soft that edges a little bit. We painting someone and using a photograph as reference. I never intend to copy the photograph. I just use a photograph like a reference. I always say that to my student, that with no reason to try to duplicate the picture, because it's a painting. It's not a photograph, and it's no point to try to make it look like a photograph to me. Okay, so if you try to make it look like a photograph, then for me it's just why just simple bring out another image. Okay, so that's the very first layer. Let me check my video. It come out still pretty good here. All right. I think that I'm gonna add another layers on her neck. Consider using just that colors in here. After it is a white, and it's a pink, a little bit yellow ochre, tiny touch of sap green. Then I can have to try to work on that and see how it. Oh, that's perfect in here. That's nice here, and it's come along with the neck. You see that? It's something. And then later on we're going to go on touching a little bit more in detail. Okay. That part should be some white. Warmer here. So make yellow, neighbor yellow. I love this color. It's a lots of artists use this color for skin tone, and of course I'm one of them. Classical artists love to use that because it's creates a very porcelain kind of softness skin tone colors. You see, I have. So I have kind of beautiful foundation for now. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the hair. Then I come back to work on the detail. Okay. For the hair, I will use red hair. You a lots of burnt sienna and maybe toss a little bit of yellow ochre. Maybe this should be a little bit darker. Just a shape for now. I come back and I will look in more detail. When it's darker, I add a little bit of ultramarine, ultramarine, burnt sienna. Make them a little bit darker in the shadow area. You can see that this part a little bit darker here. The reason I'm doing this, so I can control the skin tone. Okay, if I just not focus on the point, then I don't know how light her skin should look like. A little bit of make me think about the hair, make me think about, oh, this hair is dark, then how light the skin should be. That's important to see that. Sure, and then a little bit of shadows in here. Oh, it's gorgeous hair. Okay. Maybe just spend like almost like an hour working on just the foundation. But after this, we're gonna more things become more easier for us. Okay. How did you like it so far? Okay, let's add a little bit flowers here too. Okay, I have a little bit green acetone colors here. Add with this burnt sienna because it's see how it works. I just seem we'll have a little. I'm not gonna spend time just painting like the whole real flower, but just add a little bit red in it. Just the hair. And then later on, if we have time, we're gonna go for more details. That's beautiful. Maybe it's white, red. Yeah, a little more pinky kind of color. So we do need the magenta for this color. Otherwise, it's not gonna look pink. Make it like that for now. Add a little bit more of oops. This is burnt sienna. Got the reddish color. Make them a little bit more red in here. Green to turn it to a darker color. Sap green actually very powerful. If you do a lot of plein air, sap green is good for shadow and for tree and shape. So okay. I'm gonna use a bigger brush here, maybe this one, but it's soft. Gonna use add a little bit of this is liquid. I put it here. So add a little bit of sap green on it. In it, a little bit of yellow ochre, and then back with the sap green. I just try to make like how it is. is this brush is number 4, Rosemary company. It have a very long cut of hair. It's beautiful for create uh, the soft edges. Okay. At this point, I'm just make something very simple for now, like that. Get something more dramatic here. That long tail is very powerful for the kind of effect. Going back to the skin tone palette here. Notice I'm missing the shoulder here to put something in here. Just make sure that I have cover first layer. A little bit of shadow areas, sap green. Could be adding a little bit of this and create a shadow. Make it look a little bit darker here. There's going to be more hairs in here. Lots of hairs in here. Let's do it now. Let's just simple as again. Burnt sienna, sap green, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. Just warm this color here and just working for the hair for now. With that on, we can have more time. But her hair is beautiful color. Well, we just do whatever we can. Okay, on the side. You see that I'm still working, not thinking of detail. Of course, I love to work on detail. Who doesn't? But at this point, I'm still trying to stay away from it. I'm just work on the shape, the form. Then detail, we have time to working on it. But if I focus too much on detail at first, it's harder for me to, control the colors and the values. So it's rather have something like this first. Then I can work on detail, right? So time I'm changing my brush to a smaller one is so I can work a little bit more in smaller areas. This brush is brow brush is number 0. It sounds pretty small, but it's not that more. Okay, it's just enough for me to work on those shadow areas here. I'm gonna use again burnt sienna, sap green, a little bit yellow ochre, mix it here. That's my shadow areas here. I'm gonna start working on this side of the eyes. Link of the eyebrows here. Beautiful eyebrow. Here you go. And sitting in here. Okay. Something burnt sienna, sap green, a little touch of yellow ochre. I'm working on top of her eyes. I still not working on the details. Yes, I'm still working for the shape, the smaller shape here. Later on, I'm gonna work on the detail, but now still pay attention to smaller shapes. Okay, this shadow should be a little bit darker. I add more sap green in it. to make the shadow here a little bit darker. See that eyebrow here. And same thing with here. I would like to make this slightly darker. This upper lid is darker. So that's like here a little bit warmer. Here you go. Right. Cadmium in here, yellow ochre, never yellows. They are all beautiful color mixed together. Can be warmer here. Just a very light touch on top of the nose. And you have a beautiful warmness in the nose here. Soft the edges of the nose a little bit. This should be highlight here. Make the highlight connected to the top, to the sides of the nostril. Make this warmer. Soft the edges. Come back to the shadow. I think that shadow on the nose, it should be darker. Burnt sienna, sap green, beautiful color for shadow. together the shadow areas again. Burnt sienna, sapling, a little touch of yellow ochre. Okay, makes it a little bit darker in here. Beautiful corners of the mouth. You can use canvas, but for me I like linen better because linen is much softer and it's much smoother and it's perfect for portrait. It costs some money though. So if you want your practicing, I think you should use canvas. And then when you feel your skill a little bit better, then you should try a linen. Okay. So a little bit of sapling. So now we're gonna just take care of the shadow areas here. Okay. It's kind of cool shadow because it's influenced by her shirt, her top. Okay, so we have sapling, burnt sienna, and you're gonna merge this beautiful like in that form shadow here. Here you go. I'm gonna use this. The thing I like about sapling, a combination of sapling and burnt sienna, because the sapling is transparent, and then burnt sienna I use Winsor Newton. They are semi-transparent. So when you work them together, they not cover the shadow we did it when we do the sketch. So they not color it, so it's cover it, so it's still there. So that's what I like. And in the shadow area, I don't want to paint too thick. I want to paint them a little bit thinner, a little bit translucent, so it look lighter. So along this transition, I add a little bit warmer. It's fun, isn't it? This thing she come along. For me now is I want to take care of her eyes. Okay, so to do the eyes, I have to go to a little bit smaller brush. Let's see if what I have the best in here. I don't know. This one is number 1, but it seems like I want something a little slightly smaller. Maybe I try this one. It's from this brush is also number 1, but it's a scotter and it's softer. So let's try this. And for this guy, I'm gonna use a little bit of burnt umber. And I mix a little bit of sapling, a little bit of burnt sienna, I say all over, or some dark. Try to make some dark color. But if you notice, I have not used any of the black. Okay, I have black there, but I'm not sure that when I'm gonna use it. So let's draw her eyes, paint her eyes. People always think that the way I paint is just similar to the way I draw, and I guess I hope that's a good compliment. But that's how I paint. So see, I like this combination of colors here. Let's do both eyes. you go. And didn't that part here a little bit bright in values? So I'm gonna use some of the white, a little bit of the bluish, brownish, kind of dirty kind of colors, because the scleras, or what we call the scleras, is never white. Okay, so try to make them kind of dark. Okay, try to make them not too white. Okay, let me work on the eyes here. Here. Then I'm gonna add some more blues in it. Some more white in it. Look at the bluish grayish color. Maybe like that. But because of that, I can feel that there's same thing here. I can add a color too, but I can make them slightly lighter. This side is lighter because of the light hitting on it. See that? Now, take care of the iris. For the iris, I'm starting with add a little bit of the liquid, burnt umber, starting with burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and see how it's go. Okay, let's start with this eye first. Sometimes I don't think I need black at all. She have kind of bluish eyes, but because of her top, so make her eye look a little more greenish. So I think it's cool if we can add a little bit of greenness on her eyes. Okay, let's do some green in her eyes first. Add some sap green and bluish. So make it look. It's a beautiful combination of red hair and green eye. Let's leave this yellow ochre on the sap green to make it green. Okay. Okay, add some green in here too. Go back to ultramarine, burnt sienna. Create the deep colors without using black at this point. It darks enough, you know, you can feel like it look like black. So that's when you are have somebody pose for you for just a few hours. You don't have the luxury to do the painting for whole days, or you don't have the luxury to paint like indirect methods. It means like back and forth with lasing. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. Okay, we don't. Then we just do this for like a study, and it's good to learn how to do it. And it's when I was in school, we do a lot of this. It's fun to me. It's very fun. Okay, I'm gonna has a little bit of warmest color on top of her upper lid here. A little bit warmer her upper lid here. You can see beautiful in the shadow here. Don't forget it. And the shadow is connected to her beautiful eyebrow here. You see that here. Soften so it look more dramatic, like we do in the makeup for her. Okay. We can have this like here. Beautiful eyebrows. You see, here you go. And here I'm gonna make this from the lower lid here to be a little bit warmer. That's too bright. A little bit too bright, so I can make them a little bit warmer. You see? Then I connect it here. Soft the edges of the iris, okay? Soft the edges. This highlight here should be a little bit lighter. Love it. For me, it's because of the pandemic, so I'm mostly stay home and painting and work on my commission. But at the same time, I miss traveling a lot. I do, but it's not too bad to go stay home and paint too. I remember in 2019, I would travel so much. I have no time at all. I have no time to do anything. I'm traveled different country. 2019, I went to 11 countries teaching. How can you imagine? From 1 year. So I get home and I get ready for another trip, and I really have no time. But I think for me, staying home is not bad. Staying home is not bad at all. Miss traveling, but I don't think that's bad. Just a little touch highlights in here. You see that? I'd like to make that corners of the eyes a little bit darker. Oh, look at the eye. And the beautiful. Highlights in here. And let's work on another side, because when I'm working on both eyes, I have to be like careful, work on both eyes. I always tell that to my students, they have to work on both eyes at the same time, because otherwise if you don't, it's really hard to control. Okay, control the equal the balance of the eyes and stuff. So it's good to work on both eyes at the same time. Just soft that edge a little bit. Shadow, soft them a little bit. Here you go. And I want to make this eyebrow slightly darker slightly warmer. Now I love that it got darker and corners of the eyes make a symbol like this. Okay. Then I will have, she have a beautiful highlights in her eyes. I use white, a little bit touch of white. Okay. Just careful touching. Maybe it should be a little bit stronger. Just here you go. And then I'm gonna make this highlight here. Very careful, okay? The highlights is very important. I think that eye should be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna add more brow number with jump green, just a tiny touch of black to make the pupil here should be just tiny darker because in the shadow and make it more natural this way, okay? And I'm gonna use this highlights again. Try to blade the highlight. Here you go. Make the highlight a little bit softer. Here you go. Gonna make that part look slightly darker here. Sap green, burnt sienna. Okay, after this, I want you to always remember of sap green, burnt sienna is a great combination for shadow. Okay, and I think if you can learn from, I think for me, I still take workshop with other artists here and there because I like to learn, and it's nothing wrong with study with a lot of artists. You learn a lot. Different artists offer you something different, and there's nothing wrong with it. There you go. So now I can continue to work on her face. Just so we have a very simple color palette here, and nothing fancy. Okay, nothing fancy at all. Now I can put on this. Now I move on to the nose a little bit. Okay. Make it work on this beautiful shadow here. There's a beautiful shadow here along the nose. I need to make sure I got this here. Love the warmness here. The top of the nose come naturally. Beautiful highlight. You see what we did before, sometimes we just merging them together. You see what I'm doing here? I'm merging what I already did before. Now I like the shadow slightly darker. Sap green. A little bit more of it. Get this beautiful shadow. And again, I'm trying to this is very different than not try to paint it extremely realistic. Okay, so I try to make the brushwork soft and firm, and it's different than painting in classical realism. It's different. If you have seen my work on other work, and sometimes it's quite realistic, and it takes more layers and layers to work on. But this one is a little bit different technique. This is called direct method. We're not going to spend a lot of time on glazing. Actually, we don't do anything. We just work on wet on wet. Work on the colors and try to make it look right. And let it soft. Then edges here. A little bit of white. So just a little bit warm, and so I try to soften a little bit. It's just that it should be a little bit softer. Here you go. Better. It doesn't look too heavy. Shape. I think for the shape of her eyes. Like that, and just soft this like you. Sorry, sometimes I'm deep in thoughts and I'm kind of mumbling. So sorry about that. Sometimes artists we paint and we just deep in thought. Sometimes we just can't even think about anything else. So our job is, I know that myself and other friend is a teacher, so we need to train painting and talking at the same time. But sometimes it's really hard for us to, because we kind of forgot what we're doing. We forgot that we supposed to talk. But if you notice that artists like us are we painting with eyes and hand and brain, and the mouth keep talking and talking. It's just like, at first it's not easy for me though, especially English to my second language. So sometimes at first I forgot the words. I forgot what my vocabulary is completely disappear. I don't know what to say. So it's getting better. It becomes a second nature, and I can talk. But before, when I start teaching, sometimes I forgot that the word. I'm just don't know what to say. So think about if you can, like me, like teaching with the different language. I think sometimes it's kind of challenging. Um, Let me work on the shadow of the nose a little bit more. It should be a little bit more. The thing is, I don't like to be overworked of the technique. Sometimes it unfinished, it make it beautiful. You don't have to be like full detail. It just sometimes left a little bit of unfinished. It make the painting look more dramatic. Like this. Soft the corner of the mouth a little bit. Soft the edges of the jawline, okay? Just pick a brush and I can just try to make the shadow. Soft the shadow like here. Maybe a little bit of warmer color here. A bit warmer here, and then some of the softness reflection here. You can see that here. Make it softer. Try not to overwork it, okay? Not overwork it. I like the concept of this. I want to make the neck a little bit warmer there. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the white. Remember, we only have a couple hours. I think this I asked the color maybe over 1 hour already. So I try to work maybe another 15 minutes or so, then I will stop. And whatever it is, I stop, it does it. Because for me, it's a good study and I don't want to overwork. Okay. Burnt sienna, sap green, light touch with yellow ochre. Because remember when we started, we have a little touch of sap green, and the sap green is still there. Okay. You can see that. It turns a beautiful color for shadow. Now I have to work on the transition a little bit better. This is just dark in the shadow here. Squint my eyes to make that part a little bit better with like that. Make the neck round. You know. A little bit of yellow ochre, sap green here. Have a little touch in here because it's influenced by her shirt. So I'm gonna add a little bit more with that. Soft the edges here, make it a little more shadow here. Soft it. Now I can back to the forehead, add a little bit of warmer shadow here. Soft the hairline. Make it warmer here, soft it. You go, create the depth of the face. So you can see that how it's come along well. So okay, so let's work on the hair. The hair, burnt sienna, sap green. For the shadow again, you see I use lots of sap green. Darker here. But I want to show that her beautiful red hair, okay? So use this to create the waves of her hair here. Soft the edges here. Add a little bit here for yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium red. A little bit in here and see how it's work. The redness here. Alright, continue to work on the hair, soft the highlight. I like the softness of the outside. Try to create a softness. Okay. Here. I still have to work on a little bit of a neckline. Make them softer here. And we're going to work on the hair a little bit better. Soft the hairline. Soft it. Try to create a softness around her beautiful hair. Just soften the edges here. Also softening all the edges here. Not into the flower. It's really fun. It's a very fun exercise. It costs a couple hours, okay? And I'd like you to, spend some time with me and just draw it. Maybe it's hard at first. Well, what is yellow ochre here? It's nothing easy at first, right? You agree with me? Especially art, and it's not overnight, to be honest. But it's fun if you don't do it, you never learn. Don't be afraid of failure. If you can make it this time, do it again. You make it next time, 10 times, you're getting there. But don't say, "Oh, it's too hard." No, don't say that. Don't think that way. Having fun. For me, doing this is just like very relaxing. I'm filming, I'm talking. I have such a wonderful time. Let me add a little bit more of the green sap. Sap green here. There, a little yellow ochre, and I can add a little bit of the green. Her shirt. I don't have to try to make something simple like that. Just to try to design the composition for the painting. Sometimes it though chalk, it creates a beautiful effect like that. I don't have to painting too much details, right? Okay, then I'm gonna add some beautiful flowers in her hair. Ping it, so add a little bit of white. Just having fun. Right, it's just fun. Want to add a little bit darker inside that hair here. Yeah, I'm just trying to mimic the hair. I'm not trying to copy exactly what every single hair look like. No point. Just think of the ways the hair come in. Beautiful red hair. Here you go. And they come and having fun with it. Okay. Yeah, almost there. So we have I would say it's less than 3 hours. We have a wonderful exercise. Fun. A little bit of thinking of values, colors, edges at the same time. So it's fun. And I think if you have time, paint with me, okay? Besides doing pastel, I like to do oil sometimes too. I want to add a little bit of backgrounds in it. I'm gonna think this is very similar to the picture, but I like something a little bit more fun. I got a little bit of white, a little bit of navy yellows here. Maybe yeah, something is make it more fun. I add a little bit of this. I don't be bold, be fun, you know. Yeah, that's a nice color, and then we'll put that. Some colors here, soft the edges here, make it disappear. Here you go. It's a little bit soft. You see, having fun being a little bit thicker here. Put a little bit texture for the background, and then I can just soft the edges a little bit. Soft the edges, okay. Notice she have a beautiful earring there. Time to do a little bit fun in details. A little bit of burn numbers. This is the shadow here, and there's the hair here, and you can see that she wears an earring. It stick out from our shadow here. I think I'm gonna leave it darker first, okay? Make sure I have that like it. It's a part of the background because here we go. Then make the earring by adding white into blue with the black. Braid it first. There's a little bit of white here. A symbol like this. You have a little bit of hair on top. darker here. Okay, so I think we pretty much done. You know, a little short study, just a couple hours, you can paint a wonderful portrait of your friend, um, um, somebody you know. It's a very good exercise. Um, then you know, keep doing this and you're getting better. Okay, so I'm at the leave the eyelash here. She have some. Okay. Never forget the fun part is you done. You can just symbol sign your name, right? This is not my best signature, but here you go. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the podcast with me today. 3 hour, make a beautiful, wonderful study, and be healthy. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time soon. Bye bye.